Is Gaia Prime a giant robot that complains about communists, like in Fallout?
So now we finally get some actual fucking dates. So, 2326 is when the first humans were released to the surface. So about 275 years after the program was initiated, and then April 4th, 3021 is when Aloy was born. And I think Aloy is 18 years old, so that would mean that it's 39 right now.
This man is still alive.
Ah. Okay. All right. Yeah. That. My drop to ledge square highlighted, and instead of doing that, Aloy decided to jump down the elevator shaft. All right, sure, cool. Glad we did that.
Look, she's dealing with some real heavy stuff. She's been going through some things.
Dies at the bottom of an elevator shaft.
At least you get to listen to that. At least you get to listen to that soothing elevator music. Dun, 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 dun.
Sup? I fixed your door.
Except it won't open for anyone except for her, so no.
Aloy, forgive. Forgive! The goddess spoke to you?
She did.
What did she say?
That I was born to lift a curse, to kill a metal demon.
How, Aloy? How?
I don't know yet. But she told me where to go to find out.
And you will do this?
It was her wish. What she made me for. Yes, I will do it.
So
I don't know
Try anyway.
how much you guys have noticed what with the extremely thick metaphors that this game has been laying down about Aloy, but this is the part where it gets cemented.
First you shun me, now this.
Because they start calling her anointed.
I will not be worshipped.
So let's play a little trivia game. There's a word in Hebrew that means, literally translated, anointed one, with the specific connotation, one who is anointed by God.
And it is all.
Any guesses about what that word is?
I believe that would be the Messiah.
It's a world worth fighting for.
You know what that word in Greek is?
Just here, everywhere.
Aloy.
Christ. Really laying down the Jesus metaphors right now.
Go to Meridian and wait for me there.
Well, I think that it's fine.
Also,
this game is literally saying that Jesus Christ was picked to defeat robots by a scientist hundreds of years ago.
Well, I mean, think about it for a second. Aloy is the second coming of Elizabeth Sobek, and she's going to fight Hades.
She comes out of a cave after dying. I mean, you're not wrong. It is very on the nose.
It's
Horizon.
like, yeah,
Zero
but
subtlety.
it's like, why?
Aloy, how kind of you to spend a moment with me before you depart.
Yeah,
There
like...
can be no doubt now. You
Yeah,
are a
no, but,
blessing
like,
made
why,
flesh,
though, also?
The will of the goddess incarnate.
It's really not.
It, you know, when you put it that way, it does seem like this was deliberate.
Close enough.
But also,
Yeah,
like,
oh, I mean,
why was
absolutely.
it deliberate?
I'm the second they started saying anointed one, the first time I played this, I was like, oh, they're so playing up the Jesus shit right now, aren't they?
Thank you.
Is this just one long music video for God is a Woman? Is this what this is?
That will be for the
That's
goddess.
what
Like, it's
actually-
just that, like, it's like that forward-facing now that we can just go ahead and attribute it to that song.
And I will see to the wounded.
What if God was...
I'm trying to work the Trinity into this, because Gaia is also a woman, but
Well,
who would
speaking of-
be...
not to subvert the current Jesus talk, but like,
here in the mountain, close to
is it just me, or was there subtext to their relationship in the few scenes shared by Gaia and Elizabeth?
It's a defensible position.
Yeah, I mean, like,
it doesn't go anywhere, and it doesn't really add up to anything, but it's there.
I'm reading that as like mother-daughter, and there's another scene at the end of the game that also kind of lays that down.
But it flips it, right? Because it's mother-daughter, mother-daughter, right? Because, like, that's what makes it kind of weird, is that, like, Elizabeth gives birth to Gaia, then Gaia gives birth to Elizabeth, and it's weird, is all I'm saying.
Gaia's like, hey, Elizabeth 2, you need to go make Gaia 2.
What crime did he commit?
That's your whole purpose.
I will tell you if you
Yes,
Have
the whole
fun.
thing is...
But it is a long story. Are you sure you want to hear it now?
So this is also where we finally get to figure out, to learn the past of Rost here.
Rost never committed any crime.
Gary
He was
Rost.
an outcast by choice.
What? What do you mean?
Many years ago, before the derangement, before the Red Raids,
And this is actually
a band
a
of murderous
multiple minute
outlanders,
long
12 in
story
number,
here, so
struck without
get ready
warning.
for that shit. I
At
feel
Mother's
like
vigil, they took hostages, and then pressed
Video
on,
games
heading for Devil's Thirst.
Showing
Takes
instead of
so
telling
much-
is so expensive.
You would know.
well,
video
they
games.
ape so much
Near the
from
Kaja border.
cinema,
time,
from
many
movies,
families
in terms
lived
of
there.
design language, in terms of
Ross
like
was one of them.
scenes and, you know,
His mate was
cinematography and that kind of
killed
thing.
fighting the Outlanders, and his
I
daughter
feel like
was
they could
among
really
those
stand to
taken
learn about the economy of a scene. Because, like,
Yes.
especially with open world games and RPGs, you often just end up with just like, I'm just gonna tell you a 10-minute long fucking exposition dump that may or may not be important.
Hostages?
It bloats the game a lot.
Well, and again, in a how do I put this? In a film, she would start telling the story, and then it would cut away to we would watch the story unfold.
What did they come
But that's really
In a
expensive, and only
cutscene or
like
something.
right, and only
Yeah.
Rockstar has the ability to do that sort of ridiculous expenditure, right? To cut back to like 20 years
Well, I would say
ago
Naughty
in this,
Dog can, but
To
not in an
animate
open
like a
world
big
game.
battle scene.
Noises.
right, and to have
that's
you
not
play
even
it.
the only way you
Suddenly
could
as
do
they
it, though. Like,
The
there
Outlanders
are
made their way
instances
back to
where
the border.
characters
And disappeared.
in movies tell important information to other, you know,
What
background
happened?
information that's not
Rost's
necessarily done in a flashback or whatever, but, you know, like, it's just, this is so
Ross
long.
was one of the braves who tracked the Outlanders.
Yes.
Keeping his
No, I know what you're
distance.
saying. Like, they could do it
There were 6 hostages.
They
still
could at
alive
least
when
have,
they
like,
reached the border.
more animation
Alone.
going on besides the hand slightly
Rather
up,
than release
head
them,
sideways,
Yeah.
Outlanders
shot,
slit
reverse
their
shot.
throats.
This
and
is
let
also a studio
corpses
that
just
doesn't
across
really
the
know how to
border.
do
Mock
environmental
us.
storytelling. We'll be honest. Like all the exposition caves kind of give that away. They very much are more about
Yeah.
the written word than they are about like telling a story through the environment. You could probably like how cool would it be like if you just explored Rost's thing? You might be able to stumble across some stuff that explains the story instead of having a 10-minute thing here.
Rost went after them? That he became an exile?
I feel like it's not even necessarily
Ross
like
was
they're
beside
bad
himself
at
with
environmental
grief, but even so,
storytelling.
he
Like, I
would
think there
never
are
have told
elements of,
anyone.
like, you know, looking around at the environment so you can kind of get an idea of what the
called
artists were
the most
going for and trying to
terrible
tell
secret rite of the
with
Noah
the environments. I don't think like artistically
to
it's
be
like
made
bankrupt or anything, but
No,
then they layer on this explicit text
Right, and I guess
rather
that's
than
what I'm
letting
going
the
for. Is
environment
like
tell its own story.
One who dies
I'm thinking
because
of that
And
thing
in
from behind the
seeking
waterfall from like
brings
I don't know, a
death
month
to
and a half
others.
ago, where we went to find what was the
ritual
guy's
drags
story,
the
and it was
spirit
like all
from
one
one's
room
body,
with like 4 things to
releasing
find,
it to all
and we all kind of rolled our eyes at how that was trying to be
The heart
environmental
beats,
storytelling.
the mind thinks,
Whereas
but
you're
the
right,
spirit
they
has
very
moved
much
on.
prefer explicit text. But like their costumes are clearly designed in a way to tell a
Ross
story about
went
who
after
each
the
individual
Outlanders,
tribe and culture are,
but his
and how they
spirit
use the
never left.
robots and how
It
they
remained
what they
here
believe.
with
So I
the
don't want to say that
Outlanders.
there's like no effort or
He
whatever.
gathered
That's
the bodies
not
of the
true. I just think
slain
like
and returned
this
them.
studio skills are more in these
Then
long
He set out in
expository
pursuit, not as an
things
exile,
than in
but a weapon of
having you walk into a
vengeance,
room and go,
a
"Oh, I
barbed
get what
arrow shot
was
from
going
a
on
bow,
here."
Never
Right.
to return.
And it's a shame because even during these scenes, you can't
Yes,
see the full
a
costumes.
full year later.
So, like, you
And
could
terribly
have the
wounded.
design of the costume
He collapsed at the
incorporated
border of the
into
sacred
part of
land.
these shots.
A hunting party came upon him. He was delirious.
You mean in as much as just like not even just
By
having
law,
such static
He should
camera
have
angles
died
for
where he
dialogue?
lay.
Yeah,
But one of the hunters broke
or at least I think
down,
so.
and reaching across
At
the
the
border,
very
she dragged
least,
him to
I would
our
think.
side.
Who was she?
A brave.
We are still
who'd
going, by
lost
the
a
way.
mate and 2 sons to the very outlanders that Rost pursued.
Like, the worst part about this is, like, I could rewrite this and
To
make
the
it
contrary, he killed
like
all
a
12.
1 or 2 minute thing,
Tracked them
but
to
it just goes
disparate places
on
the
and
world
on
over,
and
he
on
said.
and on and on.
Meridian. Bun
It's
Ula,
bad in a video
Plain,
game almost particularly,
Utaru land,
like when they kill momentum
further
like that.
even into
The last thing you
Forbidden
really
West.
want is to have the player feeling like,
The
okay,
last
just give
he
me
killed
control,
nearly
just give
got
me
the best of him.
control of the game.
Wounded, he stumbled and crawled back to us.
And this is
Hoping
kind of
to
really
rise
important. Like, this
close
is
to the sacred land as he
the
could.
past that your father
He
figure
never
would never tell
expected
you
to
about
be
himself, and you've finally gotten to the point where you can hear it.
And nursed back to health.
You'd think they could have done
It was
a
done
specific scene for this and had it
Yes.
like more weight, and not put it
In a difficult
right
position.
outside of the door of the big exposition dungeon where you just finished and just found out
Why
that your
couldn't you
mom
just
is
welcome him back?
a god
had
slash
been made a
AI
Death
slash
Seeker, Aloy.
also you're a clone
No
of
longer
your
had
other
he
mom.
place among the tribe. By law, he should have been driven back out. But we couldn't bring ourselves to do that, so we offered a compromise.
You made him an outcast.
Yes.
And I guess the idea
We
is like,
offered
oh,
to
this
do
is
so
important, so the players will
on the
sit here
condition he
and
never
pay attention
speak
to it. But it just,
anyone of this.
Well, I'm trying to figure out.
and this is information the players probably
He
want.
suffered.
But
To be
So
declared an
again, I
outcast
think
was
the
his
best way to
reward.
do this would be show rather than
Rost
tell,
was
which is to have an
overjoyed.
area where a little
He
bit where you play as
never
Rost,
expected to
a
live
30-minute
Sure.
segment where you play as Rost
Let
and
alone
have this story
embrace
told in as
such
brief and as cheap a way as possible, while still having the
He
emotional
resolved to
resonance you
spend
want.
the rest of
Short
his
of
days
that,
in solitude.
I almost wonder if it would be better to have her give you a summary, a 2-minute long version that, like, if the players continue to be
And you
interested
found
in,
me.
talk to her and she will give you this
Gave me
big
to him.
blow-by-blow breakdown.
well, you see, it's
Another
it's
compromise.
being cut up into these segments
The
where, like, I
matriarchs feared
you know
you
I can
and
pause
would
and
not
like say,
let you be
we'll
raised
pick
by
this
the
up
tribe.
later.
And so
But there's
we
no
turned to
like
Rost.
Cliff's Notes version of it. No,
I knew that he would take care of you.
I don't know what
Bring
happens if I back out in the
Teach you
middle
to
of it.
worship all
Does she like
mothers
resume
and
from it, or does she
the
just
tribe.
start at the beginning?
Oh, don't, because I don't want to hear the whole thing over.
No.
It's not worth it.
You
We're at the
took
very
a man
end.
who'd lost his daughter and made him raise an infant girl. Doesn't that strike you as callous?
I'm inclined to think the course of events has shown the wisdom of our choice. And I'm quite certain that from the moment he laid eyes on you, he saw you as a gift and never a burden.
All right, Tirsa, that's quite a story.
I mean, think back to the opening of the game. I mean, I know it was months and months ago, but think back to the fact that the game cold
Thank you for
opens
doing what you could to
on
help
basically
me
your,
through the years.
I wouldn't call it a christening, but
Telling me
basically
Rost's story.
her
wish
being
I
given a
could have done
Rost and
more.
Rost giving her a name, and
But
I guess it is kind of a
Yeah.
I
christening.
am just a humble.
Like,
As am I.
that was the big opening of the game, and so it
Sure.
really does have a strong emotional resonance, and to sort of just have it,
Thank you, Aloy.
have the payoff for that scene be
I will
10-minute
wait.
exposition dump in front of some candles.
Okay. I guess it can't hurt.
Right. And to summarize the important information we just learned, in case you weren't like really following that while we were talking over it. Rost lived in a village where marauders of unknown intent about 30 years ago showed up and kidnapped his daughter and later murdered her. He went to the matriarchs and begged for them to make him a Death Seeker so he could leave the tribe, never return, and go hunt them down and kill them. He did so, was mortally wounded, and collapsed at the border of the Nora lands, where he was rescued by a hunter that was breaking taboo because she was glad that he got vengeance for her. The matriarchs compromised by making him into an outcast and never telling anyone about what happened. 4 sentences. Let's talk to Carl.
Aloy. I don't know what to say.
Say that you'll see me at Meridian.
Of course. That much is simple. But the rest...
So again, we get kind of a thing where, like, it could be hinting at a relationship here. Like,
maybe if I took you into the heart
she's
of the
willing
mountain.
to take him into
No.
the heart of the mountain with her.
Not yet. I don't know. Please don't think less of me, Aloy. But the goddess chose you to see that. Not me.
Right.
Also, I don't think he literally could see it, because as far as I know, those holograms require
be
having
on
a
my way
focus.
I always knew you weren't like other Nora.
But they
Granted, they could give
appear
him
when
one.
you don't have one. I don't think those I don't know. It's difficult to tell.
Show you what I've learned.
It's like people understanding Stewie. It's whatever it needs.
If the goddess so wills it.
See you in
Of course, there are focuses in there that are just not being used, so she could just give him one.
Now I see it is no wonder that you
Aloy,
saved Nakoa.
how did you do that?
Was favored by the goddess.
We'll go to Meridian, Aloy. I'll bring Mother's spear.
Arana.
Hey, look, it's
Your father is right.
the
belong
spear
here.
people
You both do.
whose mother's
Oh,
spear
yeah.
is stuck in that borer,
So you
and
go inside
and here's that guy with a very bad caricature of mental illness.
You are an outcast.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
They're all from, like, the
Oh, yeah.
tutorial.
How did you do that?
Anointed.
Here's that annoying matriarch who plays the antagonist
I
role
told you,
and
Lanza,
doesn't like
I'm
you.
Not your anointed.
I'm sorry I didn't see you correctly.
You still don't. I don't think you can, Lansra.
Forgive me.
Off your knees, Lansra. Start living on your feet with your eyes open.
Aloy, as you commanded, my eyes are open.
Good.
She's
Now
got
why
a
don't you
cool
try
hat.
Keeping your mouth closed.
And give me your hat. I like to imagine that Aloy just
In all
likes
my
fucking
years,
with people.
I've never seen anything like that.
That was.
People that she doesn't
I've never
like.
seen anything like that.
Aloy, how did you do that?
Alright, we gotta tell off angry Abraham Lincoln.
The tribe I served is gone.
I
Soon I will be too.
know.
The Nora have lost too many, Resh. But in your case, I guess they can lose one more.
Curse the goddess and curse you. I no longer belong here.
Is it ironic that Rost is the one out of all of these that gets closest to Aloy's own philosophical headspace with regards to the mother
Did
goddess,
you go inside the mountain?
and also not belonging here?
Actually,
I
can't
mean-
see so well down here on the ground.
I know we're kind of giving the game a hard time for its whole big extended Jesus metaphor, but you know what? I respect a game that has at least consistent thematic content, as opposed to, say, any of the recent Deus Ex games that have no idea what they're doing with, say,
Yeah.
Icarus or anything like that. Like,
Yeah.
this game knows what it's doing with its Greek iconography. It's on the nose and it's blunt about it, but it knows what it's doing with it.
More than any Stitcher should have been asked to do.
And it's
All due
consistent.
respect, Aloy,
Yeah.
if the war's not over,
Fairly.
I heard what you said about Meridian. I'll see you there.
So Teb is gonna come and help fight at Meridian, I guess.
Can you tell him to just stay at home?
No. We told Spear Girl to stay at home, but not him. Which feels wrong somehow.
You think the spear girl would have at least a nice spear? Didn't
I mean, we
Teb
did
say
get it
before that
back
he
for her.
was, like, supposed to be a weaver?
Yeah, he kind of got conscripted into the military, such as it is.
So he's not really good.
A fighter,
But he'll
no.
be like, it'll be like a Donald scenario where he'll get like insane stat increases. He'll just be hard to level.
we're gonna go pay. Let me try that again. We're gonna go pay a visit to Rost before we close out this episode.
Ooh. Good way to close it off.
Do I sound bad?
Because I mentioned that you can go back to his grave and talk to him, but I never actually showed it, so here we are.
So many memories.
For some reason he's buried out here and not, you know, in his homestead, but whatever.
Hi, Rost. I'll just take this off. Don't want
I can't remember if this is unique for the cutscene, like after having done the, you know, gone and met Gaia.
Rost,
And the other times you're just standing in the world and she just says stuff environmentally, or if she gets a cutscene like this every time. I think she gets a cutscene like this every time, but I can't remember.
I never really thought it would be the last time I saw you. I was just acting strong. I should have known you'd be watching. At the proving.
Oh no, okay, yeah, this is actually different from the...
There for me.
Are we just gonna get all of them all at once?
Like always.
Because you're not even talking about Gaia Prime, like what?
So,
Oh, okay, so it did the initial thing, and now we're getting so I went inside the mountain.
Before the proving. The final lesson.
I must have done that originally in my other playthrough, and I'd forgotten about it or something.
Than myself. Well, it couldn't get much bigger. It's the same purpose that drove Elizabeth and Gaia when they were willing to die for. So yeah.
I do kind of wish it wasn't a special one narrative, chosen one.
Give myself to that.
I mean,
Gaia, and for you.
I agree. I get it. I don't know how you do
like
the material
they were
without it.
Cheating on it,
Right.
Like she was obviously the chosen one from the very beginning. Like it wasn't like one of those things of like Shepard in Mass Effect transforms into a Jesus metaphor as the games progress, but starts off as just like some person who's like eminently skilled but not like special in any particular way. Whereas this one, like obviously like from her birth she's different and set apart from everyone else.